Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790.
Once again, we're going back to God's country to talk to someone. Of course, I have to admit that I'm from North Little Rock, not to be confused with Little Rock.
Yeah.
Is
that like? Are you saying that's like Memphis? And
I'm
West
just telling you
Memphis?
the arena is in North Little Rock and not in Little Rock. That every TV announcer ever says. So, hey,
it's all the same.
Oh, it's Scott Rook. I hope you don't mind all that talking about rivalry here, but
no, not at all.
I love Little Rock. Believe me, I do. Okay, but we got a good friend Scott Rook on with us as he heads over to the Classic, and golly, this guy's had a lot of success out of Little Rock.
5,000 pounds of bass.
That's right.
In a tournament,
and he's got my kind of deer. His hobbies is deer hunting, and that's what I like to do too. So on the way to the Classic, I know Scott. Tell us your feelings as you head to the Classic. This is one that you've done before. So let's talk about
number 9.
Yeah, number 9 coming up here for you. So tell our listeners how you feel as you go into this Classic next weekend.
The first Classic I fished over at Hartwell in 2008. I did pretty good the first day, and the second day I faltered a little bit. I didn't have a real good backup plan. That particular lake it's all the fishing is dictated by the weather.
Yeah.
Prior to that tournament, we've had
talked a lot about the weather.
The fish were fairly shallow, and right before the tournament, we had a big cold front come through, and they bit the first day, even though it was cold. And the second day, when it got bluebird, it got pretty tough out there, and I didn't really have a backup plan. And this time around, it's looking like the weather might be a little bit more like South Dakota than South Carolina. So I don't know how much really shallow fishing is going to be there like it was the last time. I mean, we've had some real mild weather here, and I'm sure they have down there for the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure it's put some fish shallow, but they're calling for a major cold front here this week and all
next
through the
week.
Classic.
Every one of you guys have talked about the weather, like you.
Well, that's
Mike
a big...
Slidell from the Weather Channel and the other guys.
Well, Scott, the weather is one of the major elements that you guys use to determine what you're going to do and how you're going to do it on the water, isn't it?
Well, it kind of it dictates what the fish are going to do. I mean, if it's warm and the temperatures get up there in the upper 40s, near 50 degrees. The bait fish are going to come shallow, and the bass are going to come with them. But if it stays cold and it gets down like what they're talking about down in the teens at night, that the bait fish are not going to come to the bank, and the bass are going to pull off as well because the water, the surface temperature is going to drop so much. So it's really going to play a huge factor in how you fish and where you fish in this tournament.
And on Lake Hartwell, that's known as a blueback herring lake. I guess that means that the blueback herring are going to go out and lay suspended in deeper water then.
Well, that's just their nature. They're a nomadic bait fish. They're constantly roaming around, and it's turned the fish. All those lakes out there in the Carolinas that have blueback herring, the bass have become more like a striper than they are a largemouth bass. I mean, they spend a lot of time in open water and a lot of time suspended around those bait fish.
Yeah. No pressure on you, Scott, but I was watching this show the other night, Bass Pro Shop's Spring Classic Opening Day Countdown. And I guess everybody's been watching it. It's been on the Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tommy Sanders and KVD, who is also not fishing it this year, made their picks for who's going to win the Classic. And, Scott, you were picked.
It was, and Kevin's looking at what we did in 2008. Him and I kind of fished similar patterns.
Yeah.
He ultimately finished it, I think, third place in that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And if the weather hadn't changed, I believe one of us could have really been a contender in that tournament, especially him, because he was on a little bit better clear water pattern than I was,
mm-hmm.
and I think that's what he's basing a lot of that on. So,
well, of course,
no pressure on me. I've been picked to win before, and there's guys that are picked to win in every single tournament, and you really can't go by that. You never know who's going to find the mother load of fish out there and find the right pattern, the right bait. You just got to have the stars all line up to get a win like that, especially with this group of guys that we fish against. It's just unbelievable how good they are now.
So you don't look at the odds then, right, of you winning?
I don't look at the odds. All I'm worried about is Scott finding enough bass to win the tournament. I don't care what anybody else does or how they fish. The only thing that I'm really disappointed about is the fact that my buddy Kevin Van Dam isn't going to be in the tournament, because I've always said when I win, I want Kevin to be second place. I want to be the best in the world. In my opinion, he is.
And, of course, a lot of people may not know, but Scott and Kevin are very, very good friends, and you guys are roommates sometime on the road, too.
Yeah, well, I room with Kevin and Davey Hyde. We've been rooming together for about, 7 or 8 years now. Mm-hmm. So, and it's been a really good relationship. We have a really good time on the road like that.
All right, Brent, let's bring it in. Let's talk about Scott. You look from you. I know you would love to be fishing, but you're not. But you're going to be there. Tell us what you see the strengths in Scott Rook.
Yeah, like I said, if I have to sit one out, I'm not going to feel as bad after seeing how it looks like the weather's going to play out. Those guys are going to have their work cut out for them for sure. But it's like Scott said. Scott had a pretty good strong pattern going, and there's one thing about Scott is it seems like whenever we have these offshore deep water tournaments, I mean, he seems like he's always right there. So I would suspect that especially on this one, that if he's able to go and build on what he did in that previous event there, especially knowing working with a guy and having your buddy not in the tournament, it kind of gives you that much more areas to fish because you probably know where each other fished last time. So I suspect him to be right there at the top as well.
And Scott, when you go into the Classic like this and you're close to Kevin and other anglers like that, do y'all talk? Do y'all sit down?
Kevin and I do. Being roommates, we talk, and we did the last tournament, the last Classic that he won at New Orleans. We roomed together during practice, and we kind of fished in the same area, and we kind of talked it over. Yeah, we kind of had a game plan, and we where we fished, the bass really weren't there in practice, but they were coming. It was a huge spawning area, and again, the weather dictated when those fish came, and we had a big warming trend right before the tournament, and both of us decided we're just going to go there and gamble. I mean, it's the Classic is not about cashing a check or finishing third or fourth or second or whatever. It's about winning, and you really have to take a few chances. You're guaranteed a check in this tournament. It's a no points event, so all you're fishing for is first place. So, we talked about it, and we kind of shared bait during the tournament as well. We talked. We would pass each other because we fished the same area, and he would say, "How many you got? What do you catch them on? Have you thrown this?" That type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, you have a lot of that, a little bit of networking between the anglers. Especially the ones that room together.
Yeah. Well, $300,000 is not bad to take home either. And
no, it's not. And again, your endorsements and whatnot from that tournament have really, really add up, So that Classic win is, to me, that's all I've really wanted to win. Angler Year is a prestigious award.
Yes.
And yes, I would like to win that, but the World Championship is really what I've set my sights on from the first day I fished a BASS tournament. So that's really what I'd like to win.
Well, nobody ever remembers who finishes second.
I do.
Especially at a Classic.
I finished second. I do if it's me. In 2001, so I know what second place is about.
Yeah, especially in a Classic, and there's nothing like it in the world. And, so...
Well, let's see what he thinks it's going to take to win. Everybody else has told us, Scott.
That's pounds per day.
Pounds per day. What are you looking at?
I try not to get any preconceived notions, until I've been out there and done my full practice, and then I kind of get an idea what I think. I mean, the last time we were there, it took 49 pounds, which is not that great. They had an FLW event there last year, and Casey Ashley won it, and he had 60-something pounds.
Yeah.
So, with the cold weather they're calling for, I really don't. It's hard to say.
It really is. And we've had anywhere from 18 to 15. I know Jason Christie said he'd take 18 and stay on the dock.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with him. I agree with him 100% on that.
On that one, but then again, it may take 14. So it all depends. Well, hey, we appreciate you, Scott, being with us on Outdoors with Larry Ray today, and your expertise and. Nothing but success. I know the road over there, the butterflies still come, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not as much on the drive over there, but once you get in the water, especially before the first day of the takeoff. It's pretty exciting to be in the World Championship like that because it's not an easy road to get there.
Well, Scott, I'll see you at Media Day there, and certainly I want to wish you tight lines.
Okay, guys, I appreciate you. Appreciate you having me on your show.
Well, you got a lot of you got a lot of Arkansas guys in this thing, so be easy on all them Arkansas guys.
That's right. I'm not going to be easy on anybody.